The United States just mobilized 4 destroyer ships to intercept Chinese and Russian vessels conducting a joint naval operation just miles off of the United States coast. That's what I want to share with you right here in the video. Let's get right into it. I know in this video, I do want to share with you the latest details as a new briefing just took place on this incident, which included Chinese and Russian vessels conducting a joint naval operation just miles off of the United States coast, which included 11 ships from these two countries. Now, this did happen just a few days ago off the southwest corner of Alaska, and many people are coming out right now suggesting this is highly provocative between these two countries. Now, as a response to this, the United States did respond by sending out 4 destroyer ships to guide these vessels away from American waters. Now, this is not the first time this has happened. In fact, about a year ago, in mid-September 2022, these two countries yet again did another joint naval operation around the same region, including 7 ships. 3 Chinese and 4 Russian ships were included that time, and as a response a year ago, the United States sent out 1 little ship out there to send them away. This time they responded a little bit more appropriately, sending out 4 destroyers and basically said, hey, you guys need to get away from our waters here a little bit, right? Now, obviously, this did not result in any kind of conflict, but at the same time, a lot of people are also suggesting right now that these two countries are testing the United States. Testing, 1, 2, can you hear me, is basically what these two countries are saying. United States, are you guys awake over there, right? So anyway, that's basically what they're saying here with these tests, is that they're trying to get close to our borders, very close to our waters, and running these joint tests like this to see what's going on with the United States. How are they going to respond? Now, obviously, last year the response was, kind of weak. 1 little ship to go out there and be like, hey guys, you want to get away from our waters? You know what I mean? And now this year they're like, we're going to ramp this up a little bit more. 4 destroyers going out there, and there were even a few aircraft that guided them away as well. So there was quite a bit better response now this time. Now here's the thing as well. If you've been watching the videos here on the channel for a while now, you know that I regularly do not talk about topics like this, right? For the most part, I don't bring stuff up like this all that often. Maybe once in a while I'll bring stuff like this up just so you can be staying tuned with what's going on. However, when we see situations like this, again, I want to bring this to your attention so you can stay tuned on what is actually going on around the world, around the country, and what is mostly going to impact us here in the United States as well. Now, obviously, this is probably not going to impact us, each individual person here in the country, but at the same time, if something were to erupt between, the United States and any of these countries out there, we probably want to know about this, right? It's probably going to impact us in some way, shape, or form at some point. Therefore, we probably need to stay tuned with what's going on. Now, again, there's a lot of different information coming out right now, especially between all of this rhetoric that's popping up between the United States and China, the United States and Russia, the United States and all of these other countries out there right now. A lot of things are coming up right now, right? The last couple of years have been super weird. And again, tensions are very high right now. So again, let's just cross our fingers that nothing, escalates any further than this. That would be a very bad thing. In fact, I've read a lot of things about it, and they've said any kind of conflict between these major superpowers of the world would be very ugly. Obviously, we want to avoid that at all costs. We certainly do not want that. It would not be good for anybody. It really wouldn't serve anybody at the end of the day, right? I mean, obviously, something's going to happen. Somebody would come out a winner, but either way, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? It would not be a good thing, right? So anyway, I just want to bring this to your attention, what's going on. So again, these are just some joint naval drills. But again, it's basically just showing that, these adversaries of the United States, they're kind of teaming up together, which again, do we want major powers like these two, Russia and China, to basically team up against the United States? Probably not really, you know what I mean? Now again, we of course, the United States also has partners as well, because we're also part of NATO, which is 30 countries. Actually, it might actually be more than 30 now, but there's about 30 countries that are teamed up in NATO as well. So obviously, we also have some backing from other people as well. But at the end of the day, still something we certainly got to pay attention to, right? So anyway, I like to keep an eye on all this stuff. Now again, when I do all this research each and every day, there is so much stuff that I come across that I find very fascinating, that I find very helpful, very useful, just like this, that I want to be aware of, that I honestly don't even share with you in videos because I just want to bring you the best information. But when I come across information like this, I feel like, you know what, this has some validity. We probably want to talk about this so at least we, the American people, know what is going on. Now remember, we could probably look at this situation and think, but wait, I thought China was our friend. Well, it depends. China is a good trade partner, but other than that, we're not really friends at the end of the day, right? We trade stuff as in we give China money and they send a bunch of their stuff over here, right? As in the goods that we buy, right? If you don't believe me, go look at the bottom of anything you have in your house. It probably says made in China stamped right on it. You know what I mean? Or maybe made in Taiwan or something like that. A few of those things like that. But most of the stuff that we have made in China. So therefore, they're a very important trade partner. But that's, kind of about it when it comes down to them and our relationships, right? But anyway, now again, there's a lot of other talk out there as well right now, especially with all of this, threats and talks and stuff like this about China potentially invading Taiwan, right? Now again, what is all this about? Why would they do such a thing? Why would they want to do that? What is their motivation behind it? Why would they want to invade Taiwan? What is Taiwan doing? Well, Taiwan is a major producer of chips, microchips, right? Now, let me tell you the details about this because this is actually very interesting. Is it about basically taking the area, as in like China invading and basically taking Taiwan and saying, this is all us, right? Well, again, this can be a little bit debated here, but according to my understanding, Taiwan is actually part of China. And again, that's just my basic understanding. I am not very good with geography. Yeah, I could barely remember the word geography, right? But again, that's just my basic understanding right now. But when it comes down to, this is mostly a fight over microchips, okay? Let me tell you the details on this, because this is actually very interesting stuff, right? So remember a couple years ago, in fact, this just got cleared up like maybe a year ago. In fact, there might even still be some backlogs on all this stuff. Basically from 2020 through like most of 2022, there was this shortage of microchips, right? There was a lot of things out there, like virtually everything that we have, anything that's electronic, has microchips in it. Where are most of the microchips made? Most of these microchips are made in Taiwan, right? Which is interesting because this whole thing is mostly about the microchips. It's all about the production of that. They want to corner and they want to have the control of all the microchips because they know microchips basically control the entire world, especially right now as we are highly technology driven with everything that's going on here in the United States as well as globally. Everything has microchips. Do you remember hearing about that from basically 2020 through last year, 2022? There were like lots, as in like parking lots and lots full of completely assembled brand new vehicles that they couldn't even sell because they were missing like 3 microchips. Do you remember all that? Pretty interesting stuff. But all these vehicles out there, tons and tons of brand new vehicles just sitting there waiting for a chip that they could not sell because they did not have the proper chips to install into these vehicles and they could not sell them. Do you remember hearing about all this? Kind of like crazy stuff. How about all the other stuff that we needed microchips for? Like everything. When the whole globe, all these countries closed down, a couple years ago because of the whole situation that was going on, as a result of that, these microchip manufacturers basically were closed down as well. Well, as a result of that, they were not able to keep up with the demand. It took years to bring all of that supply back to fulfill all the demand. Well, as a result of that, they finally have maybe caught up now. But this is what they're trying to corner. What's interesting here and as well, remember, maybe it was a year ago or so, they were working on the CHIPS Act in Congress. Do you remember that one? I didn't talk about it a whole lot, but it was a multi-billion-dollar bill. In fact, I don't remember the total dollar amount on it. I think it was somewhere around like $350 billion. It was something allocated as a total bill focused just on microchips. In fact, they're building a couple different places all around the country right now where they're focused on building and making microchips. That's the only thing they're going to do there, microchips, right? According to my understanding, there's somewhere in Ohio, and there's also a place in Arizona where they're making these microchips and building these factories to do exactly that. Why? Because Taiwan basically has the market cornered. And is it a good or bad thing? It just is, okay? I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. I'm just simply saying it is, okay? Well, as a result of that, we learned from our mistakes over the last couple of years here, which is we don't have any microchips. What are we supposed to do here? How are we supposed to continue the economy and operating different things and building and manufacturing and the distribution of things like vehicles and cell phones and stuff like as basic as a toothbrush, all kinds of different things when we don't have microchips to put into these electronic devices, right? Well, interesting. That's why they're coming up and they're building these multi-billion-dollar microchip factories across the country right now in the United States, so that in the event something like this happens again, we don't really need to worry about and be reliant on other countries to supply us the necessary microchips that we need here in the country to basically finish the production of all these different items that we have, like the example I gave you a minute ago with all the vehicles a couple years ago. Interesting stuff, right? So when it all comes down to it, it's kind of like a big old fight because of microchips when it comes down to the Taiwan thing. So anyway, some weird stuff going on out there, but I want to bring all this to your attention so you can also be kind of on the same page here. There's a lot more to it than just this, but when I do the research, I like to read all this stuff and kind of get better understanding what's going on here. I thought this was very interesting about these vessels doing the joint naval drills, off the coast of the United States. And I just want to bring this to your attention so we can all be on the same page here. This is, kind of getting close to our borders. Not really a fan, right? Not really a fan. So, but this is what's going on out there. And of course, we got to stay tuned with all this stuff. And again, regardless of where you're watching, maybe your local news is talking about this. Probably not really. Maybe your national news, wherever you're hearing all this stuff. But this is my understanding of it. And this is what I'm learning from the information and what I'm finding with all the research that I'm doing. So, again, not a topic that I discuss all that often here on the channel, but when I come across things like this that I find are very important, I feel like, it's only fair to share this with you as well, so you can also stay tuned with this stuff, because at the end of the day, this stuff probably will impact us in some way, shape, or form, and I'm not sure about you, but I want to know what may be coming that's going to impact me, my lifestyle, stuff like that, okay? So I want to know this stuff, and I'm thinking you probably do too. Therefore, it's why I bring it to you here in these short videos. So please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands upon thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day. Take care. Have a good one, and catch you again later in the next